and welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new stamp set, Silly Goose Rain or Shine, with its coordinating dies and coordinating coloring stencils. We're also going to be introducing our rainy day backdrop. We have it both in a portrait and a landscape style, and it has these cute little stitch lines and little die cut raindrops that makes the most beautiful background, perfect for any rainy day themed card. First up, we're going to take a look at Silly Goose Rain or Shine that has these adorable geese in raincoats, and oh my gosh, it just makes me smile. We also have a super cute umbrella that they can hold, and then some little puddles that you can use to help set the scene, and also little splashes as well. We also have these super cute raindrop pieces, and so you can stamp those all around to help form your scene. We have a little dual raindrop and then a cluster of raindrops, and you can stamp them all around to make these cool little areas of rain, and of course a little individual one too. We have some tiny phrases. We have make a splash and you silly goose, and then we have you make me happy, rain or shine, which is such a sweet sentiment, or also let's party rain or shine, that is perfect for birthday cards. Now it's time to add some color to these adorable images. Here I'm using my Copic markers, but you could use any alcohol-based markers. You could use colored pencils, you could use watercolor, or you could use the coloring stencils, and I'll show you those in just a little bit. Now this stamp set was inspired by our Silly Goose stamp set that we came out with in the fall, and we thought, how adorable would it be if these geese had raincoats? So this set works completely on its own, but I love that you can also mix and match it with the original Silly Goose, and we'll do that in a card in just a little bit in this video. Now here you can see I've added a bright yellow raincoat. It's kind of that classic color, but what I love about these raincoats is that you could do them in any color to match the color scheme on your card. I also think it would be really cute to paper piece the raincoat, so you could stamp the goose on some pattern paper and just cut out the raincoat and then layer that over the top, and I think that would be adorable. I need to try that next. Now for this raincoat here, we're going to do some nice light turquoise colors that are so pretty, and then I'm going to bring in some purple. So I think it's just a fun way to color them. This was inspired by Callie. And then here you can see on the umbrella, every time I use a color, I'm bringing it down to the umbrella. That way, all the different colors on the umbrella are going to match with the colors that I've used onto my silly geese here. I'm going to give him some rosy cheeks and then bring in some more colors. So those were the oranges from the beak, and then I'll bring in some other colors to make it kind of a fun rainbow, and then a bright pink underneath, which I think is just so super cute. I love that the rainbow is also another great way to bring pops of colors onto the card. I think this just ends up being the happiest, cutest cards with these bright, bright raincoats. I'm going to use some light blues for all of the splashes, and now we have color on all of these super cute little geese. And next up, we're going to take a look at the coordinating dies. They're already all separated, so all you need to do is just line them up with your stamped images, hold it in place with some low tack tape, then we'll run it through the die cut machine and we'll have perfectly cut out images every time. Here you can see all of the cute images in this set. I love that you can use the goose either on its own, or you can use the two geese together to create really cute scenes. You can layer the little splashes around their feet and have them hold the umbrella, which just looks awesome. You can have them hold it in either one of their wings, I guess, or you could even lay it on the ground next to him to help fill in the scene too. And I love that this guy can hold the umbrella. It almost looks like he's holding the umbrella for the other one, which is just really sweet. And then there you can put all those little splashes around to help set the scene. Now next up, we're going to take a look at the coloring stencils, and I love coloring stencils so much. They make adding color so easy, and it looks so beautiful too. These coloring stencils are a set of 3, and we've sized them to be the same size as the stamp set so that they're really easy to store together. Here I'm adding a little bit of color to the goose, and I'm using some sugar cookie ink, just a little bit of it. So I wanted him to just have a little bit of shading, and that's a fun way to do that because the sugar cookie ink is so light. We're going to add some orange to his beak and to his legs, and then I'm going to use lemonade ink, which is a nice bright yellow, to create a yellow raincoat, just like we did with the awesome markers. So I love that you can really mix and match. Since the raincoat's pretty big, I brought in another shade of yellow. Here's some sunflower ink to help create the shading on my coat, and I think that just looks awesome. Now there's the little details on this too, so you can color in the pocket, and you can also color in the super cute buttons, either in a tone on tone or a contrasting look. And there you can see I'm bringing in a little bit of orange for the buttons just to have a little more contrast on the yellow. And then here for the boots, I'm going to use some red ink. This is some lobster ink, and I'm just going to bring that onto the boots, and you can see just how cute he looks. You can see that little bit of sugar cookie ink just gives him that little shading, and his coat looks awesome, all inked up with those two colors of yellow. Now, this is the rainy day backdrop. This is the landscape style, and I think this is just so cute. You can add pops of color behind the raindrops, or you could do a tone on tone look. It's also a really great place to use specialty cardstocks like holographic or sparkle cardstocks. And then here you can see that portrait style, and both of these are 5.5 by 4.25, so it's the same size as a standard size card. Now we're going to take a look at two brand new washi tapes. We have our super cute Happy Flowers washi tape that just makes me smile. It has all of these rainbow colored flowers with cute little smiley faces in the center. I think it's just so adorable. It would be adorable on an envelope or even decorating the inside of your cards. And then here we have some aqua gingham. I think this is such a pretty gingham, and again, it's really perfect for envelopes, for decorating packages, and the aqua gingham would look really cute as a ground on a card too. I just think that would be adorable. And those little flowers, oh my goodness, they just make me smile. Now it's time to start creating with all of these super cute new products, and we're going to create a cool inked background perfect for that rainy day backdrop. And this card was inspired by Audrey, so thank you so much, Audrey. We are starting off with some Stormy Sky ink because it says it right on the ink pad, right? I figured it's got to be the right color. Then we're going to be using some faded jeans here, and then we're going to go into prize ribbon. But really, any shades of blue would look absolutely gorgeous with this. You could also do some blue and then layer over some gray to get that cool stormy look. Once we've inked on our three colors, we can go back to the previous ones, and where they meet up, we're going to go back and forth between the colors until it's a nice smooth blend. We're going to bring back that stormy sky again, just kind of blending it out, and we're going to leave it white towards the bottom, and that's going to help create the ground for our scene. Now, for a rainy day, we need lots of water. So we're going to let some big drops of water come out of our spray bottle here and let that react with the ink. Doesn't that look so cool? So you could have little sprays, big sprays. It's really going to look like this really wet rainy day. And I love the way it reacts with the paper. And then we can just take our paper towel and just pick up any of the excess. And then we're going to go ahead and let this whole backdrop dry before we die cut it so that the paper die cuts really nicely. So now this piece is dry, and we're going to be using the rainy day backdrop in the portrait style, and we're just going to run that through the die cut machine, and now you can see we have all those die cut little raindrops and stitched lines. Now here is our super cute Silly Goose Rain or Shine. We're going to use all these images from that super cute set, and then we're going to look for some clouds in our stash. So these are our simple puffy clouds, and then there were some more clouds in the peekaboo backdrop, and just finding cute clouds to layer into this scene. Now we wanted a really big cloud here because we're going to stamp part of our sentiment on the cloud. I just loved how Audrey did this. I thought it was so cute. So we're going to be stamping rain or shine onto this cloud, and later on we'll work on the rest of the sentiment. Next, we need to create a ground on the super cute rainy day that we created. And this is our vertical rainbow stripes washi tape. And the bright colors, I think, are such a fun contrast to the stormy sky. It's just so sweet. And so we're going to line that up at the bottom of this whole panel here. And we're letting a little bit hang off the edges, not only the side edges, but the bottom edge too. And that way we can wrap it around, and that's going to give it a nice finished look. So we'll wrap the sides, but we're also going to wrap just a little bit on the bottom too. And that's going to make it look like this whole finished thing, like it wraps all of the way around. Then here we're going to add some tape runner to the back of this piece and layer it onto a standard size card base that's made out of white cardstock, and now the white is going to show through those raindrops, and isn't that so gorgeous? Oh, I just love it. So now we're going to start layering some of these images together. We're going to add some tape runner to the little feet and then start layering little puddles at the feet to see kind of what it's going to look like. And then we can add some foam squares to the back of the whole thing, and we can start to layer that into the sky. And with the bright yellow raincoats and that bright rainbow washi tape, I think it just looks so cute. So now we're going to layer this guy onto another one of the puddles. Then once we have that puddle in perfect placement, then we can go ahead and add some foam squares to the back of this guy too. And then we're going to layer him into the scene. And isn't that so cute? The two of them interacting just makes me smile. Next up, we're going to start layering some more of the images into this. And first up, we wanted to layer the cloud that had the sentiment so that we could kind of tuck it behind this goose a little bit. And by layering the cloud behind the goose, it really helps kind of connect our whole scene together. Then we're going to take that umbrella and we're going to have the one goose holding it over the other one, which I think is just so sweet, especially to go along with that rain or shine sentiment. And then we're going to layer some more of the little splashes around and some of the clouds again tucked behind, going off the edges to make the pattern of clouds feel like it just keeps going and going. Now next we had to finish up the rest of our sentiment. So we're going to stamp it in some clear embossing ink on some black licorice cardstock. We'll sprinkle on some white heat embossing powder, and then we're going to heat it up with our heat tool to get this beautiful bold sentiment. Then we're going to line up a sentiment banner die, and we're going to run that through the die cut machine. And now that's going to finish our sentiment. So it's going to be "You make me happy, rain or shine." And I really like the bold black licorice cardstock with the white sentiment going along with the rainbow. There's something about that that is just so gorgeous. Now that we have that on there, we can just go ahead and trim off the cloud that was hanging off the edge and the rest of the banner that was hanging off the edge too. And then for some extra sparkle, we're going to be inspired by Chari, and we're going to add some stickles, so some nice glitter onto all of those cute little water drops, and that's going to really help them sparkle and shine and just add a little extra magic onto this card. This card turned out so cute. I love that backdrop so much, and the cute little geese, they just make me smile. These geese are a perfect match for our brand new Over the Rainbow interactive die, so we're going to use that here. And if you haven't made one before, make sure to check out our intro video. We'll link it in the description below. Now we've die cut this pattern paper with the largest of the outside in stitch rectangles. It gives us a panel that's 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And we're going to take the window creator piece from the Over the Rainbow die, and we're going to line up that top flat part of the die with the top of our piece of pattern paper. And then we're going to go ahead and hold that in place and then run it through the die cut machine. And that's going to give us an opening with a stitch detail and a notch. Next, we're going to take this rainbow creator piece and we're going to die cut it from that same pint-sized patterns pattern paper. Now the Over the Rainbow die is meant to create rainbow cards, and here are some of the ones that we made in the intro video. We can do fun, awesome sparkle rainbows that's so cute and kind of make it the star of the show, or you can bend the rainbow into a cute scene, and there you can see that awesome Silly Goose Rain or Shine stamp set, or you can even bring the rainbow into some of your other favorite stamp sets. But it's fun to take a look at this rainbow and think, what else could it be? And Megan from our design team saw it and she thought this could be rain. And so that's what we're going to do with this one. We're not going to layer any of the rainbow pieces over top. We're going to turn it into rain. And so here we're going to take some fish tank ink and just ink up the edges to kind of give it that stormy, rainy sky look. Many other members from our design team have created some really cool, creative things with the Over the Rainbow die. They've turned the rainbow into waves for a surfer, or into a swimming pool, into raindrops, or just into beautiful florals. So there's lots of cool ways to use this die, and I thought this was so fun to turn it into rain instead of the rainbow. So we've gone ahead and inked the edges of our panel and also inked the top of that rainbow creator piece so that they're all going to kind of mix and match together. You can see I laid them over top to just kind of make sure that it's all looking good. And then I thought it needs just a little bit more ink, so we're going to bring a little more of that fish tank ink. And now I think it's looking pretty good. We'll bring just a little more ink there, and that is looking awesome. Now here is this cloud piece that comes with the Over the Rainbow die, and I've die cut that out of some white cardstock. And we're also going to be taking out some of the cute little raindrops that are in the Silly Goose Rain or Shine stamp set. And so I'm using that cloud there at the top, and I'm using that just as a guide right now so I know exactly where to stamp. And I'm going to stamp in that same fish tank ink these super cute little raindrops that are included in that stamp set. Now, normally the cloud is at the bottom and the rainbow is kind of going into the cloud, but because we're using this as rain, we're going to be putting the cloud at the top, which is really cool. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that in just a second. But now we've added all of these cute raindrops, and I realized I should add some raindrops onto these rainbow pieces that we're now turning into rain. And so I'm going to stamp a bunch of these little raindrops on some of those little panels there to really continue on with this cute rain theme that we've created. Now for this card, because we've turned the rainbow into rain, we want to put the cloud at the top since the rain's going to come out of the cloud. But typically when you create these, the rainbow is going into the cloud like this. So it's at the bottom. But because we want to put it at the top, that is where the notch and the pull tab go. So we just have to create a notch in this piece. And that's really, really easy to do. So we're just going to line it up with the top. We are going to flip it over, and we're just going to take a pencil and we're just going to trace the notch onto the back of that cloud piece. And then we can just use our scissors to trim it out. Easy peasy. You could do the same idea with like another border die. If you had an idea or a look for how you wanted it to come out of the top, you can just cut the notch yourself just like that. And now you can see that that layers over top just perfectly, and we're able to take this die and turn it into something new and different. So now it's time to actually start creating our mechanism. So this is the pull tab piece, and we're going to die cut this from this really pretty yellow paper that comes from Rainbow Ever After. And then we're going to start putting all of this stuff together. But before we do that, we need to do some stamping. What's really cool about this die is when you pull the tab, you can have a surprise sentiment or image come out at the top and also in the area that it kind of reveals. And so we're going to be using this rainbow sentiment stamp set, and we're going to stamp I am always here for you. And this stamp set was sized perfectly to work with the over the rainbow die, so it fits just right. Now here we have this piece, and you'll see that there's little score lines at the top and the bottom, and we want to gently fold along those, just kind of going in towards the center of this piece. So they just fold it up just a little bit, just like that. Then we want to train the paper to go in a bit of a curve, because when we pull this, it's going to curve the paper up. So I'm just rubbing my fingers alongside the bottom, pressing up against my thumb to make sure that that paper has just a little bit of curve. Then we can flip our whole piece over, and we're going to add 2 strips of 1/8 inch tape at the very bottom here underneath that score line that we folded earlier. We can then peel up the liner paper on both of those adhesive pieces, and then we're going to flip this whole piece and we're going to line it up with the bottom of this pull tab. So you'll see that they're the same size. We're going to line up the bottom of the pull tab with the bottom of this mechanism piece, and then we're going to press down to secure that. Then next, we're going to bring out that window piece that we worked on earlier, and we're going to be adding this into the window. And we're going to do that by adding 1 long strip of 1/8 inch double-sided tape. You want this nice strong tape right above that score line at the top. And then we're going to add a strip on either side of that notched opening, just like this. Then we can go ahead and peel up all of the liner paper on those pieces. And then it's really easy to line this piece up because the little rainbow part, or rain in this case, is going to fit right in the window. And then the pull tab is going to fit right in the notch. And so once you have it in place, you can press down to secure it. And here you can see that it's going to be attached at the top, and it's going to kind of look like a Z hanging down. That's exactly how we want it to look. And there you can see as you pull the tab, you start to get that cool arced shape. Now, next we're going to bring in those clouds that we worked on earlier. And we're going to attach these clouds with some foam tape because we want to make sure that they're popped up so that our rain piece can move freely. So I'm going to add 1 piece of one of these long strips, these 3D foam strips up at the top, and then we're going to fill in those other corners. And then I'm just going to add some foam squares towards the bottom of the clouds to make sure that they're nice and supported, but far enough away from our moving interactive piece. And then we can peel up the liner paper and then attach the clouds. And now we have this super cute rain cloud with the rain falling down. Next, I wanted to create a ground for our cute silly geese to hang out on. So we went ahead and die cut some green spiffy speckles paper with that same outside in stitch rectangle that we used earlier. And here's a grassy border die. And so we're just going to go ahead and run that through the die cut machine. And now we'll have a grassy piece that has that pretty stitch detail. And just like we did with the clouds, we want to add some nice 3D foam strips all around to give this a nice pop so that our interactive mechanism can move freely. But before I do that, and I'm so glad I remembered right before I attached it, we need to do some stamping. So part of my sentiment is going to be here at the bottom of the grass. So I'm always here for you on that pull tab, and then rain or shine at the bottom of the grass, which is so cute. So now we've peeled up the liner paper on that foam, and we can add our grass at the bottom. And I love that you can have both the cloud at the top and the grass at the bottom, and the mechanism still works. Now here is that Silly Goose Rain or Shine stamp set, and we're going to go ahead and take out all of those characters that we stamped and colored and die cut earlier. I'm going to start layering these guys on with some foam tape to give them a nice pop. This guy is going to be holding the umbrella, which is so super cute, especially with that stamped raindrop coming down. And then we're going to add this other little guy here on the corner. I love him. Like, he is just so excited that it's raining. It's adorable. Then we're going to add some of these cute little like water puddle things and splashes and stuff around their feet to kind of help set the scene and bring some of the water down towards the grass too. Then the Over the Rainbow die here has this little die cut tab cover so that it has a little arrow, so it helps let the recipient know what to do. And I realized I had forgot to put that earlier, so I'm going to layer that right at the top of the pull tab. And so it's going to have that nice blue color that's going to match the rest of our pattern paper, and then a cute little yellow arrow poking through. Next, I'm going to add another one of those petals here at the bottom, and that's because we're going to be bringing in the original Silly Goose stamp set for some extra geese to add to our scene. I also added some water landing on the umbrella, which I thought was cute. So here's one of the little baby geese that are in the original set. Isn't that so cute? And so I made sure to put adhesive only at the bottom of him so that he doesn't stick on to our rain. And here I'm just checking to make sure that it still works and I can still pull the tab. Then I thought, wouldn't it be cute if there was a cute goose on the inside? And Megan did this and it was so adorable. So this is one of the bigger goose that's from the original Silly Goose stamp set. And so I've trimmed down some of that same yellow paper that's on the tab to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. That's the perfect size for this mechanism. And I am going to lift up my pull tab here so I can see where to put my goose. I'm going to add some adhesive all over this goose. And then I'm just going to, again, make sure that I'm laying my mechanism here over my pattern paper. I'm going to pull that mechanism up and then layer this goose on the inside. And here you can see, look how cute that is. And I love that we can just kind of lay it over top before building the whole thing to see that it's exactly how we want it to look and that it's going to work. But here is when I realized, oh gosh, it's kind of getting stuck in the mechanism. But that's okay. I have a solution for that. So usually when I have something underneath the mechanism, I do some stamping. But if you want to put a die cut, here's the trick, and it's acetate. If you layer acetate over anything there, your mechanism is going to move super smoothly. So if you want to layer die cut and stamped images or just other die cuts in your opening, this is a perfect way to do it. So I make sure that I have my goose in the right placement, like we did earlier, by attaching him onto the pattern paper. Then here I'm just putting some nice strong double-sided tape all of the way around the edges of the pattern paper, and I've trimmed down a piece of acetate to be that same 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and we're going to layer the acetate on top. This is going to give a nice smooth place for our mechanism to work on, and it's a really cool way to add die cuts into your over the rainbow cards. Our next step is to flip the mechanism over and add some 3D foam strips. So we're going to add one all along the bottom, and then we're going to add some on either side of the pull tab, and then we'll fill in the rest of the area to give it a nice pop because that'll help the mechanism move freely. And I love this acetate trick. Of course, you could just stamp your images, which is what I normally do, but if you want to layer a die cut bind there, this acetate is the perfect way to do that. So we're just going to keep adding our foam strips all around. I probably over foam everything, but that's okay. It's fun to do. And then we're going to go ahead and peel up the liner paper, and now we can attach this whole mechanism over top our backer piece that has the cute goose in it. And now we can do a little test, and look at that. The rain comes up and another little goose is layered behind. It's so cute. Next up, I wanted to layer something on that rain mechanism. So here we have that original Silly Goose set where we got the little baby goose and also the goose that's hiding underneath the rain here. And then we're also going to be using a phrase from that. So we've got a fun little speech bubble in this one, and then a phrase from the Silly Goose Rain or Shine that says make a splash. So I love that you can mix and match these sets so well. All of the sentiments can mix and match too. So we're going to add some adhesive to the back of the speech bubble, and we're just going to layer that right onto the rain. And as we pull the tab, it goes for a ride with the rain up into the sky, and I think that's just so cute. Now at this moment is when I realized I had originally wanted to ink those clouds up at the top, and I forgot. So I decided to take out my markers rather than risk trying to ink it and making a mistake. And it ended up working out pretty well. So I did some light blue markers, and then I just blended the edges with my colorless blender, and I think it looks okay. And so here I have my hearts and stars dies, and I love these because it has little hearts and stars in different sizes that make the perfect little confetti for layering onto cards. And so I die cut them in all 3 sizes out of some raspberry cardstock, and I decided to start layering them around to see what would look cute. I thought there was kind of some open gaps over to the left since it didn't have an umbrella there, but I didn't want to put another umbrella. So I thought, you know what about these cute little hearts? And it's perfect. So I put them in placement, and now I'm adding a drop of glue with my glue tube, and I'm picking it up with my pick up pokey tool here, and then just putting it right back down on the glue, and look how cute that is. Then I'm going to take a white gel pen and just add a little bit of detail to the hearts to make them pop and give them that kind of cute cartoony feel. Then I thought it'd be fun if there were hearts that were also on this pull tab. So we're going to layer some hearts on here. I'm going to add some drops of glue, and then again use the pick up pokey tool to layer some more hearts. And I thought it was cute that the hearts appeared on the pull tab too. It kind of helps tie the whole thing together. And then I'm going to take my white gel pen and just add a cute little curved line on either side of the heart again. And I really think it helps those hearts just pop. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a card base for this. So I went into one of my textured cardstock packs, and this is the blues, to find a nice bright blue, and I'm trimming that down to be 5.5 by 4.25, and I have a card base of the same size. We're just going to add some tape runner to the card base, and then we'll layer our pretty textured cardstock right over top of that. And then we're going to layer the mechanism on top of that. And I like to do this with foam squares because when it's popped up off of the card base, it's easier to grab that pull tab and make the interactive mechanism work. So I've added a bunch of foam squares to the back of this, and then we're going to layer that right onto that card base. And now this card is all done. It is so super cute. I love this idea by Megan so much. As you pull the tab, the rain comes up. It's got that cute sentiment that kind of goes for a ride on that mechanism. And then you get the surprise of the goose right underneath the rain and also the sentiment over at the top. I love that we were able to layer a die cut behind the mechanism by using acetate. That's a really fun trick and a way to add die cuts behind that window opening and not just stamped sentiments or stamped images. And I think this is so much fun, and it's so much fun to turn the over the rainbow die into some rain, which is just so super cute and adorable. And next up, Chari is going to create the cutest card featuring an adorable rainbow and our Silly Goose Rain or Shine. So take it away, Chari.
So I'm using the new Silly Goose Rain or Shine to make my Rainbow Rain card today. And I have also cut out the stitched rainbow from various colors of cardstock. I'm not using the clouds that come with it though. I'm using the puffy clouds because I'm going to be stamping a sentiment in the clouds. So I wanted a lot of space with my clouds. So I've already cut out a bunch of my pieces. I've already colored my images. And I'm also using the new Rainy Day Backdrop in Landscape. And I've cut this from some Spiffy Speckles cardstock. Now, I really wanted some rainbow rain. I love the Really Rainbow paper pack. I love the paper with the big wide stripes. As you can see, I've used all of them in here. And honestly, this is kind of all that's left from this one pad. But I do feel like it might be a waste to use a whole sheet of this just to see the rainbow through the raindrops. So I'm going to show you how I created my own rainbow just to peek through those raindrops. And I'm using my little strip of Really Rainbow paper as a guide. So I just have a piece of white cardstock here. I'm using my little strip as a guide for picking out my colors, and I'm just coloring some stripes with my alcohol markers. These don't have to be pretty, these don't have to be perfect. They are only going to peek through those little raindrops, so it doesn't matter what this looks like. You could also ink blend this if you wanted, but the markers gave me some nice bold stripes and were really super fast to color in. So I started in the center there with my yellow, then I'm going to turn it around and work my way to the pink. And I'm just using a combination of Olo markers and Copic markers. This is a perfect use for that wide tip on your Copic marker if you have those, because all you're wanting to do is fill in a bunch of color as quickly as possible. And you can see this doesn't look the best. This is not as pretty as the pattern paper. I would probably never do this for an entire background, but for the purpose of what I want to do on my card today, this is perfect. So now that this whole piece is filled, you can see exactly what it's going to look like when I put those raindrops over top. And we just have that color peeking through, which I just think works perfectly. Now, before I put these two together, I am going to do a little bit of inking onto my Spiffy Speckles with some Merman ink, just to kind of darken it up at the top. This is going to be above my rainbow, so kind of like the stormy skies above, and then a little lighter below. I also have a little strip of sky blue glitter cardstock. This is not a color I use very often, but I thought it was perfect for some shimmery rain so that my goose has a big rainy puddle to stand in. And I just cut the top of that with a stitched wavy border. So now I can add my marker panel to a card base. Then I will add my rainy day backdrop on top. And I'm just using liquid glue and I'm putting it in between those raindrops, and I put it all around all four sides. and then I'll just layer that over my rainbow panel that I created, and now you can see those beautiful rainbow raindrops peeking through those die cut openings. Then of course we want to add our water to the bottom, and I just really love this sparkly blue color at the bottom of this card. I just think it's great. Next, we need to build our rainbow, and the Stitch Rainbow die set does cut this base panel that's cut from white. Then it cuts all the bows. So I used for my rainbow today guava, fake tan, sunflower, cilantro, and peacock. Now I have my simple puffy clouds. There are 3 sizes. I cut one of each size from white cardstock, and I'm going to use the large one and the medium size one to stamp my sentiment on. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. So these sentiments are stacked. So we have 3 lines of text, but I only want 2 lines of text on this large cloud. So I'm going to line it up to where the middle and the bottom line of text are centered in my cloud. Pick this up with my Misty. Then I'm going to grab a Post-it note. And let me shift this over so you can see. I'm going to cover up that top line of text with my Post-it note. This will allow me to ink up the sentiment but not get any ink on the line that I don't want to stamp. And I'm stamping this in narwhal ink, so it's kind of got that stormy cloud look. So there I have my bottom 2 lines of my sentiment. Now I need to stamp the after every on the medium size cloud. And I'm using my sticky mat to hold it in place. Again, I'm going to line it up to where that top line is centered. I'll take my Post-it note, cover up the bottom 2 lines, ink up the top line with that narwhal ink, pull my Post-it note away, and stamp that sentiment down. So I just think this is a really fun way to incorporate this sentiment into my cute little scene. So I'm adding my clouds to my rainbow just with some liquid glue. This is going to cover up those straight ends and make it look even more fun. That little cloud there I will add with some foam tape here in a minute to layer over the medium-sized cloud so we kind of get some dimension. But I'm going to pop up the whole rainbow with some foam squares so that it is popped up off of our rainy background. This is another reason I didn't want to waste cardstock behind the raindrops because we're covering up a bunch of them as well. Then we have our little cloud. Now for this one, I'm actually going to stack 2 foam squares, so it is double thickness, and that way it will be popped up even more than the medium cloud that it's overlapping. And I added a tiny little heart to this so that every cloud has something to say. Then we're going to add our cute little goose in his raincoat. I just think he's so cute. I cannot stop coloring this goose with a yellow rain slicker and red boots. That is the only way I know to color him, and I just love him. So I'm popping him up with foam squares as well, and I love that I can kind of tuck him behind that little cloud so he's really under the rainbow in all the clouds. And then there are the 2 little splashes, and I'm adding those on each side of him like he's kicking up that sparkly water that's at the bottom. Now we're not quite done yet. There are raindrops in the Spring Showers die set. It cuts out 5 different sizes, and I just ran that through with that same sky blue sparkle cardstock, and I'm just going to add some shimmery raindrops around. I think this really kind of brings the sparkle into the rest of the card because there's so much at the bottom. I also added extra glitter to the little pink heart, to the tops of all of the white clouds, and some glitter to the little splashes on each side of the silly goose. And then this card is all done. I love that Silly Goose and his yellow rain slicker under the rainbow with that fun rainy day backdrop. I also love the sentiment in the clouds just for something fun and unique.
Oh my goodness, Shari, this card is so cute. I love the rainbow and the sentiments in the clouds and the beautiful different colors of raindrops. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team. And this stormy scene by Grace is just so sweet. I love how she added grays onto all of her coloring on the Silly Goose Rain or Shine to really make it look like it was a gray stormy day. This card here by Callie is so super cute, and it's what inspired my coloring. I love the turquoise with the purple boots. It's just so sweet and adorable. This card by Tammy is Rainbow Happiness. I just love the rainbow frame around the rainy day backdrop. This card here by Elise is so sweet, and I love that she framed her scene with Silly Goose Rain or Shine with a stitched oval. It's adorable. And then here Mindy shows us that our rainy day backdrop is not only great for our adorable geese, but it's also cute for other rain theme sets like our berry rainy day. Isn't this card just adorable? I really want to make one with the bear and the goose together. This card here by Melissa is so sweet, and I love how she brought the frog in too and the little fence. It's just an adorable scene. And then here I love how Yanea layered a frame more interior on her card. That's so cool. I can't wait to try that. This card by Letitia is so super cute. I love her bright colors. The blue and red and yellow together are just gorgeous. And then I love how Lynette added a rainbow into the sky. It's just so cute and sweet. And then last but not least, we have the adorable card by Audrey that inspired us to make ours today. So we cannot wait to see all of your cute rainy day themed cards, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and we hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!